Okay, so today we're going to look at creating a short time lapse using Adobe Photoshop. Couple of prerequisites: you have to have a group of photographs. They have to be in a kind of numbered list so that Photoshop can recognise them and import them in sequence. And preferably have edited the photos before trying to create the time lapse with them. So I've already got a folder with edited photos in it. So over here on Photoshop, we just click open to open a new file, project file. And on here, I've preset it, so it's went to my Lyle Hill time-lapse JPG images. So up here at the top is number 1. As you can see, they're numbered sequentially, 8, 9, 16, 17, 18, whatever. So first one we're going to load. And down here at the bottom of the folder, you'll see this option, image sequence. If you tick this box after you tick the first image, this tells Photoshop to this is a sequence that you're loading, and it will download, process all of the files in that folder. So you need to be aware of that and don't have any other files that you don't want included in your time lapse in that folder. And we just click open. So over here on the folder, click open. And then we get asked the question, frame rate. So what frame rate do we want? Well, you can pick whatever you like, but generally speaking, I go for 25, sometimes maybe 60 frames per second, but 25 is fine. 60 frames per second would be a bit smoother, but unless you've got an awful lot of photographs, your time lapse won't last very long. So click OK. Photoshop creates this time lapse for us. I'll shut these extra boxes down. Down the bottom here you have your timeline. Now, sometimes you'll open this, you'll create this time lapse on Photoshop and you won't see the timeline at the bottom. So you basically have to go to, if I can get this right, yep, window and timeline. If I switch the timeline off, because quite often people get to here and say, oh, there's no timeline, I can't see anything. Well, that's why we do timeline. The other thing that you have to make sure is ticked is window and where is it? No, it wasn't window, sorry. Sorry about that. So I have to click window, workspace, and it has to be under motion. If the motion option isn't ticked, Photoshop doesn't know that it's a motion picture or a video that you're trying to do. So make sure motion is picked. Okay. So that's us ready there. We've created this timeline down here. At the bottom, it tells you here 25 frames per second. Now we can expand or reduce the view of that layer. Now at the moment this is in seconds. It tells me that's about 19 seconds long as the film that it's produced. And if we click over here and press play, you'll get a view of essentially what your time lapse is going to contain. It will be a bit jerky because it hasn't been rendered yet, so please don't panic if it jumps about. Okay, so we'll just press stop and we'll rewind it back to the beginning. So that's fine, we've got our time lapse, but it would be nice if we could put some music onto it. And the audio track here is there by default, but we need to add audio. So we click on the little music symbol and click add audio. I've got a couple of files on here that I've preloaded. We'll just use that one. And it puts it in. But as you can see, the audio file is a lot longer than the length of my video. So if we use this arrow at the bottom here and just zoom in or zoom out, zoom out obviously, there. And if we then go to the end of the audio track, we can press left mouse button and we take it back to the end of our video. And it snaps to the end of the video, so you don't need to be too accurate with your movements there. It'll snap to the end itself. Invariably, the music will be too loud. So to get the properties for the music, you highlight your mouse over the timeline over here, right click, and it brings up the audio properties. I normally start at a minimum of 50%, sorry, a maximum of 50%, sometimes less. And we could do a little fade in, which fades the music from nothing in the way, say 8 seconds, and a wee fade out, we'll go for roughly the same. 8. It doesn't need to be overly accurate. You can type the values into the boxes if you want. There we go. Let's see if we press play now. We should have some background music. Sounds not too bad to me. Other things you can do if you want to add a title, just add another video group, because what you can do here is click on the film, add new video group, which brings an extra line, and in here add media. If you click on the film strip and click add media, there's my JPG images. Can't see them, but over here it tells you it's looking for 3D Studio. Obviously we're not using 3D Studio images, so we go down to all formats on the drop down and it brings up your box. I'll pick the first image to add. Now this time we're not adding an image sequence, so don't tick the image sequence box. We're just going to click open. There we go. And duration, let's see, what's that set to? 4 seconds, that's not too bad. 4 seconds isn't too bad. But you'll notice that that overlaps our time lapse. So we don't want it, we want it before the time lapse. So what we would do is we drag it over here, drag the video to the end of the time lapse. And that means the audio is too short, and we drag the audio to the end as well. And if we rewind that to the start and press play, we've got a static image at the start for 4 seconds, and then our time lapse starts. So we want to say add some text into this, into the top of the starting frame. So we go back to here, drag it back, drag the wee arrow back. So we need to add a new video group. New video group, and it puts another one up. So click on that line. Click on the text button. Yep. Alright, sorry about that. So we want to add some text. So we've got a new video group. We click on that line there and simply click the text box. Go over to where we want to insert our text. Press your left mouse button and we'll stick in my video. There you go. Yep. Enter. And that's it. It's done. My video. You could put anything you want, but just my video does fine for starters. So let's play this now. We've got the music coming in, and then that disappears. I'm quite happy with that. That looks okay. It's got everything I want in it. All I have to do now is export that. So to export it, we go File, funnily enough, and Export, which is down here. But we're going to export this as a video. So what we do is we go to where it says Render Video. We click on Render Video, and it comes up and asks us name. What do we want to call this? Well, I'll call this one Blue Hill Time Lapse. Okay. Select folder. I'll leave that there. You can change it to whatever folder you want, or you can create a new subfolder within it. Format. You've got a lot of options, but H.264. Is an easy one. It's a default and it's the one that's easy for the web to understand. It goes on to a web page or Facebook or wherever you want to post it. Preset is your quality. I usually just set this one here 1080 and 25, so that tells us it's basically 1080 at 25 frames per second. My size is preset to 1920 by 1080. That's widescreen, which is fine. Frame rate 25 frames per second. Blah 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 blah. To be honest, these will all be preset for you usually, unless you've changed them yourself. And you just click up here where it says render to finish, and voila. Photoshop will go away and it will export the video. Depending on the speed of your computer, this may take, or the length of your time lapse, anything from a minute or two to a couple of hours. I'm going to pause here and I'll come back once it's complete. Okay, so that took probably about 4 minutes to process that time lapse. Now, what I forgot to mention was that was 460 images that we processed. 25 frames a second gives you about an 18-second video. Plus I've stuck 4 seconds of introduction on at the start. So that gives you how long your time lapse will last. For argument's sake, if you wanted to do a full 1 minute, 60-second time lapse, you would need to take 1,500 images in total to make a 60-second video. So here we go. We'll give it a wee play and you can see just what the finished video looks like. So here we go. My video, and then off we go. You can see the wee bombs flying across. That effect's quite nice. And the audio fades out. And we're done. So, I hope you enjoyed that. What I will do is I'll prepare a small sheet of paper with just the basic steps that we took to create the time lapse. There's obviously a lot more to time lapse photography. There's more things that you can do with Photoshop, but it gives you an introduction to it and it is good fun. And yeah, give it a try. It's not too difficult, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.